全く英語が喋れない、単語の意味もわからない人が英会話とかネイティブの方と喋るのは無謀ですか？私は大人ですが英語を学びたいです。英語の教材とかを買ったりして自分なりに勉強してたのですが、文法とか全くわかりませんでした。っていう、その文法の知識が全くないような人たち、それこそ英語じゃない全く別の言語を学び始めようとする人は何から始めればいいんでしょう？
Okay, so not mubo but muyo. In other words, it's pointless. If you have very little knowledge of the language, it's pointless to have this sort of eikaiwa session. It's meaningless because you have so few words. You don't understand what the person is saying. You can't keep on saying sumimasen, sumimasen. It's meaningless. So in my case, I always begin 2-3 months at least. Just listen and read. Just build up your vocabulary. So at least you understand something. And at least you have vocabulary beyond hello, how are you? Is it raining where you are? How old are you? You know, you can't go round and round and round with this very limited vocabulary. So I never recommend that people start by speaking. Of course, when I moved to Japan, I was doing a lot of listening and reading, but I was living in Japan. So I could walk out my door, I could go to the grocer, I could go to the wherever, I could speak whatever. If I had 3 words, I could use 3 words. So that was a different situation because I was surrounded by Japanese. But if a Japanese person learning English is not surrounded by English, so to actually go to an eikaiwa class and not have anything to say and not understand what people are saying, you're better to spend that hour listening and reading and building up your vocabulary. And that's what our system is based on. And so we have these mini stories with a lot of repetition, especially repetition of verbs, because you need verbs. Verbs are key. The most common verbs: want, take, give, need, hope, say, do. Those are the things you need in every language. Japanese, Russian, English, doesn't matter. So a big focus on these high frequency verbs, lots of listening and reading. And then there'll come a point where now I want to speak. I want to speak. But to just go there and sit there and not understand.
Yeah. A lot of people are kind of expecting those teachers to somehow make you fluent, in the language. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Never. So
I don't think actually that you can teach a language. I think you have to learn a language.
So
you can. And the grammar. You say they don't know the grammar. Sure, when you start in a new language, let's say a Japanese person is going to learn Spanish or Chinese or something. So you might have a little overview of the grammar, but you won't understand what the grammar explanation is. You have no reference. So my belief is you first have to get some experience with the language through a lot of listening and reading, and you don't fully understand, and it's unclear. Maybe you understand 50%. It doesn't matter. The brain is slowly getting used to the language. And when you have some experience with the language, then you can look at the grammar explanation, and now you understand what that grammar explanation is trying to explain. You almost have to know it first through experience before the explanation is going to help you. So I say don't focus on grammar. Focus on input, listening and reading. The brain is going to start sorting things out. You'll have some questions. Then you can look at the grammar explanation and it'll be meaningful. But otherwise, it's a waste of time. In my experience.
Right. So you're saying you just kind of go jump in without any grammatic knowledges or...
No, I would have a brief overview.
Okay.
So if you're going to a Slavic language and so that they have these case endings that change, but there's so many rules.
I know.
So you go in there in Slavic languages, for example, if you say one of something, and then you go 2, 3, and 4 is a different word, and 5 and more is a different word. Wow, you say to yourself, that can't be. That's impossible. And that's not the only rule. There's lots of rules. So it's impossible to absorb all these rules, like explanation in English for the different tenses and continuous tense and all these explanations. We can't, because if we haven't had enough listening and reading, we don't know what they're talking about. So, but what I do when I start in a new language is, again, we have these what we call point of view stories. So the same story using high frequency verbs. And in one story, it's all I do this, I do that, and then the next story is she does this, she goes there, she. So just the person changes, or maybe the tense changes. And then we ask questions. Did she go to the store? No, you say, she went to the store. Did she go to the store? No, she went to a restaurant. So it's all easy exposure. And that's where I spend, and I listen to some of these stories 30, 40, 50 times.
なるほどね。
Getting the brain used to the language. And that's much more powerful than any grammar explanation. Now, you have to be willing to listen to the same story 30 times.
そうですね。そうですね。確かに。Talking about my experience, I was really good at grammar at high school and junior high. And for me, learning grammar is like, knowing the rules of a game. So if you don't know the rules, you can't play it. If it's just a game setting, then you can just go right in and learn as you play. But I prefer to know the rules beforehand, so that I can be prepared for what's going to come. So that's what I did when I first learned French.
Right.
I found video series on YouTube explaining grammar rules in English. So that's what I did. And in that video, the video creator included phonetics, so that I can have idea of how to pronounce each word in French.
Right.
Do you do that when you first learn? No.
But bear in mind, I said that language is personal. How we learn is personal.
そうですね。
And I think there are people who find grammar fascinating. I mean, there are people who like math, some people who don't like math. So, yeah, you can't account for people's likes. I think most people find it difficult to learn grammar if they don't have enough experience with the language. Also, I found that the phonetics, I mean, if you go to French, and so they'll have some maybe international phonetic alphabet symbol for on and on
Yeah.
and but if you can't hear on or u, it's meaningless. So I still prefer lots of listening. And at first, like when I started into Russian and I couldn't pronounce it, but after a while, if you listen a lot, you start to get the rhythm. It's the same with the tones in Chinese. If you try to pronounce at the beginning, oh, this is tone 1, 2, 3, 4, and you try to remember, is it tone 1, 2, 3, 4? It's very difficult. But if you do so much listening that the brain starts to get used to it. So you start saying the odd phrase in Chinese, and all of a sudden the tones are right because you've heard it so often. So I personally, my preference is lots of listening and reading and occasional referring to grammar. And it is interesting to see, but it's more interesting when you understand what they are referring to. I look at people who study Japanese and some of the rules in the book, Japanese grammar rules. I never did any of that. I don't know what they're talking about. All I know is I go, ikimasu. Yeah, yo, iku, ikeru, iku daro. Yeah, you get into enough context, it starts to make sense. That's. But so again, lots of listening and reading.
なるほどですね。
今日のまとめ。十分な語彙がないうちはむやみに挑む必要なし。十分な語彙がないうちはむやみに英会話レッスンに挑んでできない自分に落ち込む必要はありません。新しく覚えた単語フレーズも話したいという意欲があればこそよりきちんと身についていくものだと思います。難解な文法を理解するよりもひたすら言語に触れることを意識しましょう。言葉で説明するよりもなんとなく雰囲気で分かっていることって日常でも多くあると思います。言語でもいろいろな文脈に触れることでなんとなく分かってくることがどんなに難しい説明よりもしっくりくるはずです。動画内でも触れたスティーブさん創業の語学学習アプリ Link が私の紹介コードを使うとなんと 35% 割引で利用できます。概要欄にリンクを貼っておくので、まずみっちりとインプットから始めたい方はぜひ試してみてください。 スティーブさんとのコラボ動画はまだまだあるので、チャンネル登録まだの人は登録をして、通知が行くようにベルもクリックしておいてください。Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.